All right, YouTube. So, I've been seeing a lot of stuff. Now, this is a new channel, or a new channel for me that I'm gonna watch. But Bobby Green humiliated a 18-1 boxer. I usually don't watch a lot of streamers. I used to keep up with them in times past when I was doing other reaction videos. But I actually want to hear this
I
because I've been
think we've got
seeing
a
it everywhere.
compromised cameraman. Did you guys watch Bobby Green go in there and spar? So there's this guy called Dean the Mean. He does live things. Rampage is doing one where you kind of follow him around. In fact, I think Dean the Mean might have even got knocked out on Rampage's things by Keith.
Yeah,
I think
by
that was
another
the gentleman
dude,
that got elbowed.
Are you the guy that got slapped on video?
Hey man, you don't gotta be like that, dog. You ain't gotta, but I get it. I get it. Dean, because he is a bit of a controversial figure, I'm not gonna lie, I don't like some of the things that he's doing. I rocked with him in the past, but like now he seems a little too conceited, and that's just what happens when like you get fame, you start getting money and all that stuff. And that's why you gotta really respect the people who don't switch up whenever they get famous or something, you know?
I did, but I'll slap the shit out you though.
Oh, you will? Yeah. I'm gonna show you the inside of the house.
I'll make you another clip. Don't do that.
Seriously?
Don't do that.
Whoa, whoa.
All right. Come on, cuz. Come on.
Dean the Mean is friends with Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner is training guys.
But let's go ahead and analyze the clip. Ever in a confrontation, this is for like my fellow young men and stuff out here. You gotta understand, like, there's a difference between overconfidence and just doing something that's just dumb. Now I do get it. You're like, yeah, I just punked this dude. I just this, I just that. I'm young. I'm this. I'm that. But just never leave anything only to imagination. You always gotta be on point.
Seriously?
Because look,
Do that.
you was talking about this and that, and then bang. Yeah.
All right. Come on, cuz. Come on.
Dean the Mean is friends with Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner is training guys, in this case Bam Bam, who's 18-1. The video when you watch it is Bobby Green getting ready to spar. Now Bobby Green does not look like he's taking this serious. Why do I say that? Because he has a mouthpiece and gloves and nothing else. He doesn't have his shirt on. He's not representing a sponsor. That's not normal boxing attire. There was no headgear. There was no cup. I mean, he looks like he's getting ready to mess around, but it wasn't. It was a live sparring.
I'll be honest though, I don't like. It's gonna be hard to say because I'm not like a professional fighter or anything, but I know people who they go out and they spar and they dress just like how Bobby Green went out there. Like they don't always have to wear the headgear. They don't have to wear like a shirt or a white beater or something like that, or a tank top. My bad. Like, what is boxing attire truly? All you need is some shoes, your gloves, and that's it. I know it sounds crazy, like, to be all butt naked out there, but like genuinely, as long as you got your shoes, your gloves, you could box. That's it. You don't even really need the shoes. You just need the gloves.
Session. And a lot of sparring sessions in boxing, by MMA terms, are fights. I mean, in MMA, we are very careful and very reserved. And in the most intensive circumstances, we would not raise intensity above an 80. Now, Bobby never went 100%, but I'm not convinced that his opponent was not. So Bobby's in there like a guy that's going to move around, be the new guy in the gym, play a little, and then hopefully one of these guys will teach him something. Hopefully when this is done, they'll jump in the ring and they'll show him, hey, if you slip this way, you slipped it when you shoulder roll, come back. That's where setting up your hook, something along these lines. We don't get to that point because Bobby punks this guy out so bad. I mean, Bobby broke rules of boxing. For example, he never raised his hands. He got his hands down here. He's got his hands down here. And he's moving just enough. He's moving just enough to distract it. Bobby Green even, he starts the whole thing with the flinch, like your big brother would do. And you go, no, no, no. Bobby gets the guy to go, no, no, no. Gets the guy to do that right off the bat, and he does it twice. Pulls back, hits him with.
But do you see what happened though with, and I forget this guy's name. Like I said, no shade to nobody, but his hands are down. He's trying to, react to the feints. But I feel like at that point in time, because I did kind of see some of the clips, I think Bobby Green was in his head. Now I'm not gonna say like, you know, UFC fighters are not superior to boxers, because I'll be honest, UFC fighters train everything. Boxers are just training their footwork, their striking, and then just reading their opponent. And we just have to be honest. If these guys were to fight without any rules, yes, the MMA guy is beating the boxer any day of the week. You can, I know some people are gonna be like, "Oh, you tripping, bro?" No, bro, no. MMA, you could literally, you don't, it's not just about striking, it's also about submissions and about other things and techniques. And that's actually true to fighting for real. Boxing is somewhat true to fighting, and it's a good thing to learn to defend yourself. But in a street fight, people can kick you, people can pull out a weapon, and all you got is your fist. So, yeah.
But the other hand, I mean, I did
But
not
he's
think,
showboating.
but I still hold boxing to a very high standard. No matter how many times that I have been shown a solid, tough guy can go do really well in boxing, I just can't accept it. I believe in the sweet science, and I believe at a level to where you could amass a record of 18-1, that you're at that level. That a guy that doesn't know exactly what he's doing, that can set certain traps for you, is never going to put a hand on you. A non-boxer, no matter if he's an MMA striker or not, a non-boxer should not be able to touch a professional boxer. He should be off balance the whole time, leaning back, running away, caught one, okay, but I win.
No, but that's ignorant. That's an ignorant statement, because Bobby Green is still a mixed martial arts fighter. That is MMA by nature, my guy. Like, MMA trains everything. You do a bit of boxing, you do kickboxing, you do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you know. Some people do what else? Taekwondo. Like, those are still forms of like boxing. It's all striking. Like, so he's like, oh, he doesn't know this. Yes, he's not the most polished boxer. Nobody's denying that. He probably doesn't. He's not been like boxing as long. I can't even say that. But he is an MMA fighter at the end of the day. He knows, man. He's a striker. He said that. I seen the ending clip when he was talking to them, like, you know, and he was trying to call out the other guy that has the box look to him.
30 seconds, look, that's pretty good. A minute later, I'm out, somebody else's turn. Whew. Oh, I got my boxing in today. It wasn't like that. And this wasn't a situation where Bobby grew confidence as it went. It wasn't a situation where Bobby goes, well, you know what, I'm gonna go test myself. And then partway through it, hey, I'm a little better than I thought I was. Let me put this out there a little quicker. Okay, well, let me do a double jab. It wasn't like that. Bobby knew from Jump Street, I'm going to humiliate this guy, and he did. Now, Bobby did not hurt him. Bobby was not a bad sport. Bobby, in fact, was a gentleman. Because there was a number of times when Bobby did start letting go that he realizes this opponent defensively doesn't have what it takes to bob and weave my shots. Bobby's touching him with everything that he throws. So now all of a sudden Bobby needs to throw a little ass, get behind him, reach around, grab the hips, show wrestling in the situation, move him around. I love boxing. I actually love boxing. If you took an MMA guy and you never took him to one day of boxing practice, you might do him a favor. I do not think that a top boxer can beat a top kickboxer. I know a lot of you do. I don't think that a top boxer is going to have any problems with a Taekwondo guy, by example. Like, if the contest involves standing, no takedowns, the better boxer wins, I've always thought. We haven't got to see a lot of that, but that's what I've always thought. But boxing does have some tremendous mistakes, and if you make them, in MMA, you will get knocked out. For example, Bam Bam, the opponent here. He finally gets tired of standing up and down with Bobby, and he comes in. He comes in like he's going to do some body work, but either way, it was like a duck. It was like a duck, but he stays down here. Then he's going to, like, try to shoe shine on his way out.
Let's just go ahead and take a moment to appreciate two warriors stepping inside of the ring. I know that, like, this video is just like a hit piece to boxing, and it's just talking crazy. I'm gonna agree, like, yeah, boxing isn't everything. I like I said, I'm not like super pro in terms of MMA or anything like that. I don't watch it all the time, but you would naturally think like, yeah, somebody who trains all these different mixed martial arts would have the edge in terms of boxing. And I do know Bam Bam, that's the nickname he gave him, was talking about the weight class. And of course, people were throwing that out the way. They were like, nah, man, you stepped in the ring. You know, this guy's 40 and all this and that. Like, you should have been able to just beat him up. You know, he's got some size on Bam Bam. Like, even when it comes down to the footwork, in the earlier clips, he was not like positioned properly at all. But that is where you see his MMA technique coming in, because in my personal opinion, he kept on like hitting him with strikes. His strikes are powerful. He knows what he's doing. He's a striker, and it was wearing Bam Bam down. And I felt like at some points in times, the trash talk and the combination of being recorded was making him actually say, well, you know what, I don't want to go out like I'm like a B word and I'm a this, I'm a that. So then he starts trying to likewise put his guard down, and he's trying to just move his head, and it's like, dude, you haven't been successfully dodging his strikes at all. Like, if this was an MMA fight, you'd be bleeding. You really would, because you're just eating those to the face, and you're not supposed to be doing that. You're not supposed to do that in MMA. You're not supposed to do that in boxing. So I don't know, but I'm not gonna judge. I'm not gonna say anything. Like I said, I'm not saying I'm better than any of these guys. Hell, I haven't really had even 10 hours in boxing or MMA. Probably did about like 4. Took a little class once. But I'd like to overall get into MMA and boxing shape, just so that I could defend myself and my loved ones in the future. Anyways.
But if you came in down here, you will get front headlocked. You get Patty the Battied out. You will get Anderson Silva versus Rich Franklin knee to the head. Just that one motion of bending over at the waist in front of an MMA guy, he's going to jump on that head. You're never going to get up. The fight will end in that position. Now, if you're thinking, Chael, did you get that idea from somebody? Yes, I watched Tim Welsh's breakdown video. I watched Tim Welsh do what I'm doing right now, which is to watch the fight and then talk to you guys about the fight. But Tim's a coach. If Coach Tim, who's trained world champions, not to mention he's got Tommy Gun in the barn, he's on the cusp of 2 world champions, you got to listen to that. And I remember when I was trained by Robert Follis, I was so into the boxing. You know, you guys are hitting your pads and throwing your little elbows. I'm going across town when nobody's watching, and I'm working with the actual professional boxing team. And Robert would tell me, be careful. And Robert would tell me, in boxing, they've got different stances, and if you put a hand down against a guy wearing 4.5-ounce gloves, you're going to get knocked out. If you turn sideways to a boxing stance and think you're going to do the cover block, he's going to hit you in your body. You're going to get knocked out. I remember when Robert kept saying that, and it just took me a while. It took me a while to come around to the fact that pure MMA boxing is not the greatest stand-up sport for MMA. But one thing I never knew is that an MMA guy could go in and outbox a boxer. I don't know how bad Bobby would have beat him. Like, fortunately, though Adrian Broner didn't like what he was seeing, fortunately, he let it play. They didn't jump Bobby Green. That would have been a big problem, because Bobby's got a lot of friends. If Bobby would have gotten jumped, I would be on an airplane out there to watch the next sparring session. We would have evened up those numbers, and Broner seems like the kind of guy that would do that. A kind of guy whose ego would not allow Bobby Green to come into their house and handle their top student. But Bobby was a gentleman, and Bobby showed it, and Bobby made it clear that I can toy with you. And I am genuinely curious. First off, where would Bobby get that confidence? Don't tell me because he's this great MMA fighter. This is a different game. They're doing a completely different game with completely different gloves in a completely different environment. There was no cage. There was no fence. There was nothing to clinch and push somebody up to. And Bobby handled him as though he was playing. Adrian Broner then made a comment. See, when you make a comment to Bobby Green in that environment, so you're not just making it to Bobby Green. Bobby Green's in that environment representing the MMA community. So if Broner makes a threat or does something to Bobby, he just made a threat to us.
All right. I don't know where my guy here is going with that. You know, still gotta understand this stuff is just streaming, man. Like it's not like that deep in my opinion. I do get where you're coming from. I am not gonna fall into any kind of labels. Like, why are we as MMA or just even as combat sports professionals and trainers and partakers, why are we like divided like this? And I get it. Everybody has an ego and everybody feels like when they fight, they do this, they do that. It's not crazy to root for yourself. You know, that's having confidence. But like how I was just saying, I felt like, yeah, Bobby, he's been doing that for a while, and he's been in MMA, so he's trained, like how this gentleman's saying, he's trained doing striking, he's trained doing taekwondo, I'm sure, he's trained doing kickboxing. He has different facets. It's not just boxing. It's kind of like going against the guy who just has one gun versus the guy who has an arsenal of guns, like instance like that. And while that saying sometimes it's like master of none but good at many, and like it kind of sounds like it's bad, sometimes that's what it calls for, in my opinion. But I did see, like I said, some clips of what happened. I thought it was pretty interesting. I'm not gonna cut any excuses, but hey, let me know how you guys feel about that stuff in the comment section below.
And is gonna try.
Okay? But that's all the time that I have for this video. Like, share, subscribe, and we will definitely... Oh, also let me know. I'm going to probably have to put, like, my social medias and things so you guys can get in contact with me. Probably even email me to tell me some videos or send me videos that you guys want me to watch. And, yeah. But, all right, family. Peace.